my dad was over here watching the Kamaru Usman fight. He was like, "Look at his jab." I'm like, "All right, Dad." I'm like, "Jesus."
So he was happy. Huh?
You from that era, man. We dad from that era where motherfucking niggas watch Tyson knocking niggas out every day, man. That's what that is. Yeah. It's like, yo, you want to go outside? I'll show you. Let me show you how that shit throw you off.
Yeah,
man.
I was going to say, go ahead, Nigel, stand up. Put your hands up. Let me teach you something, son. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Cozy, Too Cozy, a.k.a. the guy, the bad guy, the main event. And I'm here with my two amigos. Not amigos, amigos. Okay. Guys, let them know who you are.
Okay.
And what episode is this? Yeah. Is this episode 44?
44.
Faux. That's what I'm talking about.
In the words of Lil Boosie, put your foes up, Tootie. Put your foes up.
I'm telling you, man. It's a 3-time Royal Rumble winner, the world heavyweight champion. I'm here with my partner, the world tag team champion, one half of the General Consensus, Relaxa Jackson. Then we got the motherfucking, the face that runs the place, the champ that runs the camp. Mr. Saint Picasso himself, Spence.
Put the crown on me, man. Put the crown on me, man. Put the crown on me. The king is back. The king is back. The ruler's back. We came here to attack. We're not playing any games. It's 2021. It's not 2005. Get on your job. Stay on your grind. You understand what we're doing? It's 2001. No, matter of fact, we're going to go up 20 years. We're living in the future. I'm so ahead of my time, my parents ain't even met yet. You know what I'm saying? That's what my kids are saying.
Okay.
My son just said that, and I don't even know him yet. You know what I'm saying?
What's going on?
Ain't nothing, man. It's another day, another year. I can't complain at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm stuck. I'm in a different location of the world right now, so I'm enjoying the weather as much as I can, staying away from the snow and the ice. I understand what you guys been going through. Like, how's it going on y'all side? Before I even get to that, before I care about asking about what y'all been up to, make sure y'all go follow me at St. Kitch, st.kitch, and follow the podcast, right, on Instagram. Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram and Advised Highly on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and if you want to see some cool stuff, little skits here and there on, what's the joint called? TikTok, follow Say Word, SAYW, 2 O's, RD. You know what I'm saying?
Like Say Word.
Say Word.
Pretty much all would you say that?
Say Word, man. We had an extra O for Pop Smoke. R.I.P. Pop Smoke. It's been about a year since he passed. You know what I'm saying?
R.I.P. the Big Woo.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
So
okay. Well, who do you want to hear from first, Spence? Because I feel like you're about to ask somebody.
It doesn't matter who you want to hear from first.
I'm talking to the tag team champions, right?
Let's see here, you has-been. We up here in the Appalachians. You know, we just climbed Mount Everest, and we at the top, and we're looking down at a bunch of bums. And as we're looking down at the bums, we already picked them off one by one, and we already have multiple women, plenty of women trying to climb Space Mountain. Because you already know when they look up at the sky and they see us in the clouds, that's what they see. They don't see a reflection of greatness. They see a reflection of oppression. And that's us. We are
the my God. Golly. 10,000 in a short week.
How are you doing, Wow? How's your week been? Damn.
Yeah, my week has been good. Honestly, it's been kind of a chill week. The snow, I'm getting used to the snow now. Shoveling every other day, throwing salt out and all that. So I don't know. How about you?
So unfortunately, the leg news does not get better for me, listeners. Turns out it wasn't something that passed within a week. I broke my leg and sprained my ankle and ripped off a piece of my fingernail. Shit's painful. It sucks. I'll be back. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's still, luckily, you know what I mean? Like, I got injured at just the right time with a whole bunch of snow outside. I'm not really a big fan of the cold. So it's like right when it gets warmer, I'll be back in action.
Man, that Stone Cold Stunner did something vicious to him.
The icebreaker.
The icebreaker.
It was so
my
quick
God.
too. It happened in like a span of like 5 seconds. It didn't take long.
Yeah, man, you gotta get that nigga, man. You gotta get him back in blood. The one that did the icebreaker move to you.
Nobody caught me with that shit. Fucking Mother Nature caught me with that shit. I'm sitting here like stuck.
That's what he calls himself, Mother Nature.
Yeah, sure. Like, we can go with that.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, you watch X-Men and all of that. You know how it goes. You like Wolverine, you're gonna be right back. You're gonna bounce back in like a week. You're gonna be like, broken what? The doctor gonna know what's gonna happen. The doctor's gonna be like, oh my God, it's been a miracle.
I'm about to run a mile tonight.
Yeah, broken leg, sprained ankle, and all of that.
Don't
and
stop
you know what's gonna happen? Know what's gonna happen? The leg's gonna become even more broke. And he's gonna and know what's gonna and know what he's gonna do? He's just gonna regenerate like Wolverine. So you gonna be good.
Nah,
You know what I'm saying? The doctor's gonna be like, it's a miracle. The world tag team champion just healed himself just so he can get back in the ring with Big Cozy. That's all that's gonna happen.
They said no pressure for a month, and I pretty much just gotta wait and sit here and watch it like Derek Lewis knocking people out. Apparently, just sitting there waiting for the uppercut that he landed on Curtis Blaydes. Caught him once and put him to sleep.
Jeez.
People have really been handing out blankets recently, the way they've been sleeping in the middle of the fucking octagon.
Oh my God, man. This shit with Curtis Blaydes was hilarious because after he got knocked out and he was like, stiff as a board, his feet did the same thing Wolverine did when he got knocked out. They kind of like folded in. So that's how you know that somebody has been viciously knocked out,
Yeah,
and
the feet and the arms.
Yeah, they say he didn't wake up for like another 4 or 5 minutes, man. Like he woke up. They said that he had tears in his eyes and all that. And it wasn't because he was crying, because he was knocked out so hard that his consciousness just started crying.
His brain,
his brain, yeah. And that's crazy, man. And Derek Lewis, he timed it. His camp, they drilled it. They were like, yeah, man, we was just waiting for him to, do a crotch sniffer, and we was gonna go ahead and give him one.
Man, I was watching that, and so me and La were sitting here last night, and I was watching the fight. And if you watch it, like you see Curtis Blaydes fainting quite a bit, but like, Derek Lewis isn't really biting like that. So like, when he actually did go in for that strong takedown, Derek Lewis winded up with like all of his might and just punched him square in the face and knocked him out. And I was just like talking aloud right before it happened. I was like, yo, he's gonna knock him out. And surely enough, about 5 minutes later, he was unconscious.
Yeah, really unconscious.
He pulled from every fight that he lost. That's what happened. Derek Lewis pulled from every fight that he lost when he hit the uppercut, tightened the boy up. It's like Kendrick said, you want to see a dead body?
What's funny about this is only like the third time that Curtis Blaydes has actually lost. You know what I mean? The other two were against Francis.
Francis folded him up too, but the smelling salts didn't work. They had to break out. The referees had to do a ritual, because like he was out. He was out. I'm talking about doctors hopping the cage like they won the fight just to check on him because he was he was out. And I was like, oh shit. And then Derek Lewis got 2 extra stiff ones in for a good measure. Yeah, so I was like, hey, Derek's, why'd you do the 2 extra shots? He was like, oh, it's the referee's fault, not mine.
So that's Herb Dean's fault. Hit him 2 hard times in the face. I'm like, yo, he knew he was out.
Listen, man. One thing he learned in MMA is this: it's not over until the ref stops the fight, yo.
Yeah.
Who was it? This was years ago. What was the fight where I think it was Czech Congo and somebody else when he fought. They both got knocked out, and it's Pat Barry. Yeah, Pat Barry. Like, yo, they both knock each other out. It's like, yo, sometimes even once you drop them, you just got to keep hitting them. Like that's what I think it was when Curtis Blaydes fought Francis Ngannou. Like Francis folded him, and he just kept hitting him. He was like, yo, listen, I'm not stopping until the ref stops the fight. So, I get it. Granted, he's just playing by the rules at the end of the day. Someone like that he was stretched out. Like, he was as stiff as an ironing board. Yeah, he had extra starch poured on him after that.
My
Like,
question to y'all is, where do you think Derek Lewis sits in the heavyweight division in the UFC?
He's right under Francis, man. You're right. It's Stipe, Francis, and Derek. That's the top three of the heavyweight division right now.
So do you think he could jump ahead of John in any type of way? Or do
No.
you think because Dana
No.
White's like going to stick to his plan, that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only John is, pound for pound number two. John is the former champ who's still undefeated. Also, he's a bigger cash cow than Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, he's getting up there. He's getting a real big fan base. A lot of people fuck with him, but John Jones versus Stipe or John Jones versus Francis sells a lot more pay-per-views than Derek versus the other two. Now, I think Derek Lewis, if he doesn't want to wait, which in my opinion, I don't think he should, because he might be waiting for a long time, he should just take one more fight in the meantime. I think he should fight Alexander Volkov in a rematch.
I think he should fight also over him again. Only because I think that fight's a little bit. I think Derek Lewis, if he loses his next fight, I don't think he gets another title shot.
No, but why fight Alistair Overeem when Alistair Overeem also just got knocked out 2-3 weekends ago?
I think stylistically
by Alexander Volkov.
I'm not saying that it's going to do more for him as far as ranking goes, because it won't. But at the same point in time, I think it's a better matchup. And if he's trying to just be active and possibly get another win under his belt in the meantime, that might not be such a bad fight to take.
Yeah, the UFC's not going to do it though.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, because it's it could be an easy win for him, right? But at the same time, like Lau said, I don't think the UFC's doing that just because, for one, I don't think Derek Lewis would even want to do that, just because in his case he risks too much. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say, because I think Alistair Overeem, I think he lost that fight. He was off of a 2-fight win streak.
Yeah.
Before he had lost. So it's it's not like he was on a 4-loss. It wasn't like he was on a 4-fight losing streak, and then it's let's give him Derek Lewis. Feed Derek Lewis to him, or feed him to Derek Lewis. You know what I'm saying? I think for Derek Lewis right now, if how everything's playing out, you'll have Francis and Stipe, then you'll probably have John fight the winner of that, and then Derek Lewis can hopefully get himself in that spot. Granted, I agree with you. He's gonna probably have to fight someone like Volkanovski or whatever. Or Volkanov would probably be the best option for him right now, just because if he's gonna fight someone, at least let it be off of a win. If he was to lose it, it's okay. I don't know. I just don't think it'd be best for him to risk losing a fight to someone that just came off of a loss, off a knockout. You probably had one of the best knockouts of the year so far. And we just were talking about how Bull just got knocked out pretty bad a couple weeks ago. So you lose to that guy, it's just like how we were talking about Conor and Poirier. If Poirier was to lose to Conor, he just threw everything out the window, the trying to go for the belt and all of that type of stuff. But it's a whole nother conversation. So
yeah, I'm not saying that it's necessarily it will do the most for him. I'm just saying that I think it could be an easier fight for him, more or less anything else. In my opinion, it's if he wanted the more guaranteed win. But I think if you want the more guaranteed title shot, then yeah, you take the Volkov fight.
I just think that he should fight Alexander Volkov. He's the only other guy that got a streak, top 5. It's him versus Derek, the rematch, and the winner gets to fight after John does. You could put that in some type of co-main event out under John or something. I don't know, but I don't think Derek Lewis should be waiting from now till 2022. That's for him. You could tell he's a fighter that, hey, he shouldn't be having layoffs. You know what I mean? He's not fighting number 15 and number, not ranked people. He's going to be fighting top 5 opponents. And, he has lost before. So he needs to, fight Volkov. Yeah. Hopefully he could beat Volkov and then keep his title shot. And Derek said himself, he don't really care about the title shot. He cares more about making sure he get a bigger contract, because his contract is almost up. He has one more fight now.
Yeah, at this point, you don't want to start feeding him cans. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to feed him cans, similar how they've been feeding all Adrien Broner's wins in the past 5 years. Broner won over the weekend, and I didn't even have a chance to really watch the fight, just because before I voice my opinion on it, because y'all know how I feel about it. Did you guys check out the fight?
So there's a YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to, and they always do like reactions or like post-fight interviews with the fighters. And I saw Broner, and I was like, I even forgot that he fought. So I saw him, then I went online to read the results, and he won a unanimous decision. So I'm not entirely upset because Broner was kind of a bum, and when he before he returned, his last win was like 2017, and now he came back and he fought a tune-up jobber fight. He fought a jobber, and that's okay for him. You know what I mean? Like, it's boxing, expected. It's not. And it wasn't like Broner was elite of the elite. He was just a name, just getting beat. You know what I mean? So for him, I think it's good for him to get his feet wet again, and hopefully his next fight is against tougher competition. We'll see. But, it's boxing. They might feed him a few more cans just to help build that mythical aura he used to have back in the day.
With Broner, like, just like you said, he hasn't won since 2017. It wasn't like he was fighting, like, top tier competition. It's not like they're saying, hey, we want you to fight Terrence Crawford. And, like, he's actually putting the brakes on somebody, or Earl Spence or whoever. So back in the day when he called himself the Can Man, and now he's literally the Can Man of, like, his only wins are just against, like, jobbers, cans. Yeah. Like, he's not fighting anybody of significance. Like,
yeah.
What you think about it, Nigel?
I don't give a fuck about Adrien Broner. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't know much about his career at this point in time. The only thing I'll say about Adrien Broner is this, because I'm honestly not too familiar with the topic, right? I don't know much about him, but I know he talks a lot of shit, and it seems like for somebody who talks the amount of shit that he would, and I think he has a lot going on as a person, you know what I mean? But like, I think if he can get past some of his mental shit, he might be able to build some type of streak for himself.
Yeah, but see, even then, his streak is going to be against cans. Like, when he fights like real competition, like he loses the fight. Like, who was it? He fought prior to this one, he fought Mikey Garcia, lost. Jesse Vargas, lost. Manny Pacquiao, lost. And then have the nerve after the Manny Pacquiao fight to say, oh, everybody that saw that fight, no, I beat that boy. Didn't win a round. He might have won maybe one round with Manny Pacquiao, or made a competition. So it's like he's going, like, his streak is like, he became like a B-class fighter at the end of the day. Like, he's not, to me, I think the thing that helps him is just like the thing that helps the Conor McGregors of the world, the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, is that they know how to talk trash, right? But at the end of the day, it's a proof of concept. Like, if you can't win, like, in his mind, a win is a win, and I understand that you put the work in, but at the end of the day, you put in the work in and you beat a can.
Yeah, he's a man. I was tuned into Adrien Broner, and then once I seen, like, it wasn't the Maidana loss that made me be like, I'm not fucking with him. It was the losses after that, because you clearly see, like, okay, this guy is A, he's not serious, or B, he's only good when he's beating the Paulie Malignaggi's of the world. You know what I mean? And Paulie Malignaggi, he got his ears boxed off of him by Artem Lobov and bare knuckle boxing. Like, come on. So, you know what I mean? Like, if that's Adrien Broner's biggest win, it's like, you don't expect much from the guy, but he knows how to talk shit and keep people invested. But I feel like now, people, they're not buying into his gimmick no more. They're kind of like, he has to literally go out there and string himself some wins. And I mean, good for him that he's able to get this win against this jobber, and no disrespect to the jobber, but that's what he was. Showtime knew what they were doing. So like, tune-up fight. Like, that's what boxing is all about, tune-up fights and protecting the record. So hopefully, we'll see a different Adrien Broner, or at least an Adrien Broner is winning and he's fighting actual competition. Will we see that? No, because, Showtime, they're going to learn from, a rival of theirs, King Coke Oscar, to, scam people out of their money. So
King Coke Oscar. So let me ask y'all a question, right? Like, who is his, like, MMA equivalent, would y'all say? Because I'm trying to think of people who could, like, be, like, equivalent to Adrien Broner in the MMA world, but I can't really put it on anybody.
I don't know, man. Who talks shit but doesn't win like that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody who's really talking shit that doesn't back it up.
Yeah.
I mean, and I
Kevin
think
Lee?
this is a stretch.
Okay. Kevin Lee might be a good comparison because Kevin Lee, who's, being promoted, he has quite a few main events and he doesn't win as much as he should, but he still talks shit. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Lee's a good one.
Yeah, Kevin Lee. I could see Kevin Lee. But I don't think I don't think that would be a good one. Because first person that came to mind, though he's getting himself back into like a good space, is like Cody Garbrandt, where like and I only said
he's accomplished something though.
Yeah, I know, but I know like he's if you're talking about a championship, like Adrien Broner was a world champion at one point as well.
But Cody, he beat the greatest bantamweight fighter of all time. Okay, Adrien Broner. Yeah. You know how boxing is with titles. Hey man, we're gonna slap the IBO.
I know
championship on you. It's a joke over there.
Yeah, the only reason that Cody came to mind was just because of. In that situation is different because you beat the greatest, right? In his case, but like what Broner, I'm thinking you had a title, you were a hot shit, you were the hot thing at one point, and then you fall from grace, and then like even Cody at one point he was just getting knocked out for like several fights. So like, but now he's on a rebound in terms of his career, so I can understand that. But Broner, I mean, I think Kevin Lee probably is might be the best option if that's the case because. To me, what it seems like he just doesn't have an idea of how to stick with what's going on at this point. Like, it's better to just at this point it's just better to move on for real. Like similar to how like the Eagles were like, yo, it's time to just move on. It's Carson Wentz. That
was a good one.
It's the truth. It's the truth. You saw that? They trade them for like 2 draft picks or something or like a couple draft picks, right?
So the Eagles have decided to stick with Jalen Hurts instead of Carson Wentz for the upcoming season and have traded Carson Wentz to the Colts for, if I'm not mistaken, a 3rd-round pick and a potential 1st-round pick that is now a 2nd-round pick. I think Carson Wentz is going to be fine in Indianapolis. They got a good offensive line. They got a decent team to surround them with. Like they're going to be a good team next year. Like don't sleep on Indianapolis because they're going to be all right. Jalen Hurts is going to be interesting, though, because they're already talking about bringing in. They said, we're going to bring in some competition for the quarterback spot. Like, so you're telling me that y'all traded a quarterback for a quarterback that y'all aren't confident in? That doesn't make much sense to me. I know my team wouldn't do that. Crazy. We don't fuck around like that up in Pittsburgh. So it's like, that's a different part of Pennsylvania. I can't really speak for that.
Wow. Yeah, is he done? That? always got to mention the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. Always got to mention them.
Listen, man, I'm not. Well, you already know. I've had my off-air conversations about the Steelers and quarterbacks. So
come on,
hey man. Shouts out.
We're not gonna talk about that.
Shouts out to the Browns, man. Shouts out to Antonio Brown. You know what I mean? So
champion.
Champion, Yeah, the Steelers, they don't like that. They're super salty. But you is, right?
yo, I think Nigel was saying something to me like, yo, his career when the Steelers got rid of him, he's like, yo, he's done. He'll never be anything again. But he brought it on himself.
He'll never see another field.
That man came through. That man came through with a ring talking about, I heard y'all went undefeated or something. Right. Y'all got rid of me, went undefeated, and look at me,
y'all
champion.
Y'all got it. I can't say anything because we're sitting here. We got knocked out, so it is what it is.
Yo, man, but shouts out to the Colts. I think Carson Wentz, even though he's damaged goods, there's potential for him to redeem himself with a solid team. And plus, they're part of a shitty division anyway. So I think the Colts, they could pull out and at least get wild card. I mean, Phillip Rivers did it, and he's out of his prime. You know what I mean? So I think Carson Wentz, this is his opportunity to get back where he was hyped up to be. The Eagles, they lost this fucking trade, and I feel bad for Jalen Hurts because, He's a guy that seems like he might have potential.
Right.
But when you're talking about, oh, we're going to bring in competition for him to compete with, and then plus the team still fucking sucks, it's just like, well, looks like the Eagles are going into the dark years, which is okay for me because they're in our division. And I'm like, keep on sucking. I hope you guys have a 10-year drought. So,
oh my God.
I don't care, man. Fuck them. So it's time for
I feel you.
It's time for the Washington football team to, retake the NFC East as we did in the 90s and the late 80s. It's our time again, man. We struggled and we went through so much bullshit. I mean, you guys know 2020 was not a great year for us. You know what I mean? So it's time. So fuck Carson Wentz, fuck the Eagles, and fuck the Colts. That's my final take.
Gee.
But shouts out to Carson Wentz for getting out of a bad situation because that Philly situation wasn't good for him.
Where I don't keep up with football as much. I see it here and there, so I don't have much to say. I'll just leave it at from last time I checked. I know Carson Wentz was he was somebody in Philly at one point in time, and I think at the end of the day, I know. The one thing I know about football is just about the system that you're in. So I think he'll be good. Anytime you trade that much to get him, you think there's a lot of value in it. So versus a team saying, "Yo, we're gonna trade him and we're gonna trade him and let this quarterback compete, and we're gonna let this quarterback compete to be the starting quarterback." So that says everything I need to hear from me. So
The Colts gonna be all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Hopefully they're not taking no advice from somebody like B. Well, actually, I'm not even gonna say that. With the B. Simone thing, because because I was gonna say hopefully they don't take advice from her, but I'm saying, matter of fact, you got the clip of that.
Yeah, I'll say, can I play the clip for the listeners, or does anybody want to play the clip before I put it on?
Spence, I think you might be best suited to explain.
I agree.
Yeah. So earlier in the week, B. Simone had went on her Instagram or live or whatever it was, and pretty much was just telling women, "Yo, you want these type of guys, but you don't have the qualities to match the type of guys you're chasing for." I think one of her examples was you work in fast food, but you want a guy that is like a CEO, pretty much. You making $20,000 a year, and you want a guy that makes $100,000. So she kind of went into that, and I'm gonna let Nigel play the clip real quick so we can hear more what she says so people can get an idea because the internet killed her for this.
Y'all ready? All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
But here's a little challenge. We got all these things we want in a man. A list of things. He got to be tall. He got to be dark. He got to be handsome. He got to have pretty teeth. He got to be a family man. He got to be financially stable. He got to be rich. He got to be successful. He got to be all these things. And we ain't even half the things on that list. He got to be a family man. Bitch, you ain't talk to your mama in 6 months, but you want him to be a family man. He got to be financially stable. Your account is in the negative, ma'am. Overdraft fees. You got to have a job. Don't even go fill out some applications because you're still unemployed.
Unemployed.
Pretty teeth. You ain't seen a dentist in 6 years. You got to have a six-pack and be in shape. You can't even walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing. Get your life together. This whole list that he gotta be. You ain't even half the things on that list. So this is what I challenge you to do. So we can manifest love all 2021. Make that list of that perfect dream man that you got in your mind. Then, what I did.
All right.
Make a list of the type
done?
of woman
You can cut it off. You cut it off. I think they got enough.
Yeah.
I think, long story short, she wants as much energy people gave to the silhouette challenge. She wants them to get that same challenge to their lifestyle, pretty much.
Okay.
I agree with her, and let me tell you why I agree with B. Simone. Shouts out B. Simone. I like her skits that she does with Desi Banks. I think they're hilarious together.
Facts.
But I agree with her on this one because I look at it kind of like there is a consensus of women, and I'm not saying this is all women because there's women who definitely side with B. Simone and there's women that disagree with B. Simone. But for the women,
essentially, right?
Right. I'm generalizing. I'm not saying, oh, this is for sure every single woman on earth. No, but
got you.
there's this consensus of women where they are like, I need a man to have 6 to 7 figures. I need a man who's this, that, and a third, you know, plus, you know, he's built like The Rock, but he could sing like Chris Brown. But he's
and he can cook.
And he could cook like he's Chef Gordon Ramsay, and he's an ultra street thug, you know.
And he's killing it in the bedroom.
And yes, and he's, you know, the porn star of the year, you know. while you know, she got a little job at Macy's trying to get people to try out the perfume. Or, you know, she happened to get upgraded from working the stove at McDonald's to working the drive-thru. And so I see what she's saying, like, hey, look, you want this superstar of a man, but you don't have no goals for yourself to be a superstar. So why do you deserve that? Why do you earn that? But I feel like for women, if you want a man that's 6, 7 figures, this and a third, you got to have something going on. You don't necessarily have to have 6, 7 figures, but you got to be able to apply yourself in some sort of way, because we're coming to an age where men don't want that. That men don't want to take care of a woman who just wants to sit at home and go to the club all the time and not do shit with herself. And if a woman wants a man who's 6, 7 figures and this and a third, and she's the boss about her shit, and she could get that shit on her own, then she has every right to get that type of man, because she's not dependent on him. But a woman who is dependent on that type of man, and they're just looking for a get rich scheme, or like, hey, this is my out of poverty. Like, us guys, we don't want to support that. We don't. And a woman has a right to turn down a man who's not doing shit for himself neither, you know. But that's obvious, because that's been throughout the course of history. A woman don't want to ain't shit nigga, you know what I mean? So don't have this unrealistic dream and goals and all that if you're not willing to work for that shit, you know what I mean? Like, that's just my take on that shit. So I agree with her on that.
Yeah, me personally, I agree with what she's saying. What I will say is that anybody who wants something out of their partner, you should have the same aspiration to get the same thing for yourself. Like, you should always want to be somebody who, well, I mean, I'll speak for myself personally, that what I would find to be attractive in somebody who's always trying to get theirs, you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants somebody who's not trying to get their own, you know what I mean? And I would assume that if you want somebody who is, you know, doing their thing in the bedroom, getting all the money, looks great, blah, 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 everything she said, you know what I mean? Like, I would assume that you're trying to be the same way, or I'd hope so, because if not, then, you know, your goals are just kind of, what's the word? I guess like imbalance is the best way to put it.
I just think it's common sense.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people. Yeah. There's a lot of people like the ones she mentioned, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's not everybody. It's not everybody who's like that, you know?
Right,
but
exactly.
There definitely are a lot of people who fit the mold of what she said.
So I'll start by saying this. I do agree with some of the things that she was saying. Similar to like what I was saying also, where it does, like, and I always say, like, to me, like, it doesn't matter, like, if you work at a department store, if you work at a McDonald's, like, I've done all of those things, right? Just like any of us, like, we've done all those things to progress ourselves into another position, right, in life. So there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, like, I think, so to me personally, right, I do believe that when you're looking for whatever you're looking for in someone else, you should be you should ideally mimic that to some extent, right? And she's just trying to tell someone, listen, if you want this from a person, you need to kind of be in that same direction. But it's also understanding, like, hey, as a guy, like, I think most men want somebody that either you're supporting me in what I'm doing, or you're like, okay, we're in that same stratosphere. Like Lau was saying, like, okay, if I make 200 and you make 50, those relationships can work. Those relationships can work, but it's like, at the end of the day, because I think more often than not, I don't think a guy necessarily says, I make 200, oh, she only makes 50,000, I can't talk to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, right, for a guy, right. It's like, because as a man, like, for me, I know as a man, it's like, okay, I want my chick to be able to be self-sufficient on her own enough, right? Where it's not like, oh, I need money, like, oh, daddy, can I get some money? Or, hey, daddy, I need this, that, and the third. Like, you're not my child. You're my woman. Like, you're my woman just like I'm your man. But you know how the internet goes. They killed her for this. They killed her for this because she was speaking from her own perspective of also understanding, like, because I had a chick tell me something about, oh, well, she used to work a regular job also, so, like, da-da-da. But it's like at the same time, she built herself out of that position. She worked hard. She grind hard for it. She stayed up late nights. She planned for X, Y, and Z. But some people don't want to hear that, unfortunately. It's like, it's a sad cycle. It's a sad cycle. Same way they killed Bootsy for having his opinion. Like, I think people can't take an opinion that is just counter to anything. We live in a world where if you have a opposing opinion, you're a hater. At the end of the day.
I think people are just too emotionally invested. And
Facts.
I think that's a problem with a lot of things. People get so invested in the entertainment, they can't separate fantasy from reality. And that's the world that we live in. People, get so caught up and want to tear up and start punching the air and shit. So it's just, I look at it kind of like, whether you agree with her or not, that's on you. I just don't think it's that fucking deep. And I don't think people should be treating it as deep. If you don't fuck with her opinion, just say you don't fuck with it and keep doing you. You don't need to be out there going crazy, going hard as a motherfucker. Fuck you, motherfucker. If I see you, it's on site. It's not that deep. She's just saying like, hey, you want a nigga to have 7 figures in your bank account, but you don't got no money, like, so
Yeah.
like, this ain't no fucking save me from the hood type shit. Like you got to apply yourself. Like you said, it's accountability. You know what I mean? Like, because if the shoe was on the other foot, I'll tell you what, ain't no woman who making 7 figures is fucking with a nigga who got no money. Like, tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it's hard. It's hard to find something like that.
And the nigga that ain't got no money, he might be a humanitarian. This nigga might be out there volunteering at shelters. He's at libraries trying to help kids, all sorts of shit. But just because the nigga might not make 20,000 a year, she's like, I ain't fuck with him. He driving that old Lincoln hoopty. Like,
Yeah, it happens.
Yo, listen, that happens. I've been there before where I was down. I was like, okay, I'm going through school. I'm working a full-time job, going to school, trying to figure out, okay, I know I'm trying to be somewhere better in life, right? And it was a chick that I was cool and close to that knew all of this and was like, oh, you're not doing enough. It's like, dude, I'm like killing myself right now just to get myself in a better position in life. And thankfully, I've gotten myself even further than where I started, right? But it's like some people can be so nearsighted of saying like, yo, I'm just seeing what's in front of me and maybe not for that person, but like, what can I get from this situation? And it's like, oh, well, you're not making X amount of money. Like, oh, well, you're not also taking into account that I do this, and this. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I can figure out a way of making something, not making a dream to a reality or crafting up a plan. But at the same time, a person be like, oh, well, you're not making X amount of dollars. And it's like, when it's all said and done, if the only reason I date a chick is based off her income, if I'm like, oh, I need a girl that make at least 100,000. All right, now you eliminated a whole pool of people that possibly can it may actually be your perfect fit. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny how life kind of repeats itself.
Okay.
You guys are familiar with the 50 Cent story and how he had gotten shot 9 times and all of that type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's been in the media before. Like, I think last year when he was promoting his book, how he was talking about the strained relationship he has on his son. Like, his son went as far as to stand next to the son of the man that put the hit out on him, right? Apparently, the son of the man that put the hit out on 50 Cent and 50 Cent's son got into a fight recently. And I seen a comment that said, like, I think this is going to probably bring him and his father closer together. He ended up fighting this kid, and the way he make his son, he beat him. Or whatever, but it's very interesting how like life repeats itself. Like, how do you guys feel about that in terms of just like how history repeats itself in that type of situation? Because it's like essentially it's like your child. It'd be like your child inheriting like your past beefs you had with somebody.
I hope that if I am to have a kid in the future, I would hope that they don't inherit anything bad that I've done. You know what I mean? Like I would hope to
Definitely.
God that they haven't. But I mean,
You,
like, is what you about to say, La?
I was gonna say, that's unrealistic, bro. Let,
Yeah, no, they're gonna inherit it.
yeah.
So I try and keep it positive over here. Feel me?
I, I th- the
That
thing
sounded so forced.
the thing about like, and it was since we're on the topic of children and shit like that, I feel like your child is always going to have similar traits that you do, but I think the goals of the parent is to provide them a better lifestyle than what you had, and also steer them in the best direction the right direction as much as you can. You know what I mean? They might have, like, for example, let's say you was a funny guy. Your child might have they might be a jokester as well. They might want to be funny, be silly as well. But whatever mistakes you made in your life, you would do your best to make sure they ain't making the same mistakes. You know what I mean? Like Master P, you see, he was selling crack and selling dope and shit, but he had that mindset of he's got to make money somehow. He passed that trait on to Romeo. You see, Romeo is in that same mindset, but you see, Romeo, he didn't have to sell no crack or be nowhere near that. Romeo actually went to college. You know what I mean? So
And he grew up in that environment at the time too.
exactly. So history is going to repeat itself with certain stuff, but it doesn't necessarily have to be exact to the T how things go down. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, back in the 90s, we had Michael Jordan. Everybody's talking about Michael Jordan. Then you had Kobe. Everybody talking about Kobe. Now everybody talking about LeBron. You know what I mean? So history repeating itself. You're always going to get similar things each generation. And how long is the generation? What, 15 years
10,
at
15
least?
years, some shit like that.
Yeah.
I think 10 or 20, I think.
And
The next generation, we're gonna see similar things. We're gonna be like, hey man, this shit was like that back in our time.
it's just unfortunate that he would have to take on the bad part, I guess, because I mean, there's good and bad that comes with the person you're born to. You know what I mean? I would just hope that you're giving more good to somebody than bad. Like, don't fight out there in my name. Like that shit doesn't. You know what I mean? No, don't do that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like he fought. Like him and 50 don't have a relationship.
Oh, this is that.
So
son?
like, yeah, it's that son.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Like, yeah, it's that son. Like him and 50 don't have a relationship. From what 50 has said in prior interviews, like last year, but I think what happened was because 50 said in an interview last year, he was like, "Yo." Like the thing that I think he said may have broke him and his son's relationship at the core of it was when he saw his son take a picture with the guy that tried to put a hit out on him's son. And he was like, yo, essentially you're staying at the end. I understand for 50, I can get it where it's like, I don't want to touch your kid or nothing like that, but I'm not fooling with your kid because of a issue we had back in the day. I get that. So he's like, yo, this kid, my son and my child knows, hey, this guy, his dad tried to kill my father, and my father became a success and allowed me to have this great lifestyle, even if our relationship is strained. Yeah, I'm gonna stand close to him because it's letting my father know I'm just as much of an enemy as he is. But I guess whatever happened, and they got into it apparently. But and apparently his son, that kid is having some issues with some other stuff from what I've seen, like what Flip talking about addressing some things with him. So
that just seems like, an eternal beef, something that's just going to live on forever. You know what I mean? Like this immortal thing. But I tell you what isn't immortal, the Mortal Kombat trailer that I saw the other day on Twitter. I know, Lyle, you saw it too. I know you watched it. I know you tuned in and all that other stuff.
Did you see it, Spence?
Nah, I
I
didn't have a
was about to say,
chance
Spence
to
didn't see
check
that
it
shit.
out.
Spence didn't see it.
You should.
Well,
Well, whenever you have a free chance and you fucking around on YouTube, you should watch the trailer. It looks like, my opinion, I think it's going to be a fun movie, right? So let me put this out there for the listeners. For anybody that knows Mortal Kombat, that's played Mortal Kombat before, we know Mortal Kombat is not supposed to be like this Al Pacino, Robert De Niro classic. It's supposed to be, a violent martial arts action film, which is based off a video game. And video games are supposed to be fun. So the movie's supposed to be fun. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was very entertaining. The way it looks like it's going to be like they're trying to make their own movie franchise type of deal, which I'm all for. It just depends how they set everything up. I think it's dope. It's the movie's about to drop in like 2 months, so we we're in for a treat. My expectations aren't high. That's like it's going to be some type of classic. I'm just hoping that I can be entertained when I watch it.
Me personally, yeah, I saw it. I like the trailer a lot. Me and Lau, big fans of the Mortal Kombat games and shit. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool that they're putting out something that's actually a good representation of that. Usually when, people bring things over from other forms of media, they end up fucking it up somehow. That's like the worst part of it. I really hope to God that they could actually just, do one of these things justice. You know what I mean? But I guess we'll wait in April. April 16th is when it comes out. So, I mean, I'll be watching it. Maybe we might even give y'all a review, listeners. How about that?
Yeah. I think we should, man, because I think, honestly, right now, besides the Godzilla movie and Judas and the Black Messiah just passed, the Godzilla movie, I think Mortal Kombat might be the next biggest movie that's mainstream media is talking about.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think I'm gonna watch the Godzilla movie, but Mortal Kombat I'll definitely be tuning in. And I think everybody should check the trailer out. So far, it's generally positive reviews with it, with people excited to tune in. So there you go.
I mean, while you guys were talking, I was listening to you guys, but I was actually watching the trailer. I'm not gonna lie to you. As a kid that didn't play Mortal Kombat like that, like I played it here and there. Like I had like a very strict mother at the time, so like I had to sneak to play that stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. From looking at the trailer, it sounds similar to what you guys were saying. This movie looks like it's gonna be fire. Being a year within the pandemic, I've never been a movie person as much, but this makes me so far this year, and I think Tenet set it off. But this kind of makes me excited to see another movie like something like this, because this is like it's in that space, but it's not like a superhero movie. It's not like an X-Men's movie or anything like that. It's like we know they get busy. We know they're getting busy in this movie, and that's what we expect to see. But it doesn't look like it's just, it's Mortal Kombat, so let's just make it gory as ever. So it's just blood and gore everywhere. So this looks like it. For real, anybody that's listening, I highly advise that you check out this trailer, because the Joan looks like it's gonna be worthwhile seeing. Good job.
Listeners,
good job, Larry.
I'm not gonna lie, listeners. I'm not a fan. I'm not like the hugest horror fan, so I don't really like movies that are like bloody just for the sake of being like bloody. It's like weird to me, but like this doesn't look like that. It actually looks like there's gonna be like some type of plot. I just hope that it's gonna be good. You know what I mean?
It looks like someone really sat down and thought about all of these things that we're talking about in terms of, because Mortal Kombat was, I think even back in the day, the Mortal Kombat was like, a 3-part movie series or something like that, I believe?
No, it's 2.
Yeah,
2?
Yeah. Like, so in the 90s, we all grew up in the 90s. Mortal Kombat was kind of like, it was a big pop culture thing. And I'm not saying that it's not, but it lost some of that popularity in the 2000s. You know what I mean? Now that it came back strong in the world of video games, Mortal Kombat 11 going crazy. But the movie is, it's like it's bringing it back to the pop culture phase where people who might not play the game, they know of Mortal Kombat. You know Scorpion, you might know Sub-Zero, and that might be it. But of Mortal Kombat. And I think the movie trailer, it's like, hey man, we're not expecting no Oscar performances, but this shit look like it might be fun.
Right.
Yeah. And that's all that matters. Not every movie needs to be a classic Oscar nominated like Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a balance. You need to have some fun movies.
I was just gonna shout out Rihanna real quick with Fenty, like her Savage Fenty brand. It's like, I think it's valuated at $1 billion, or it's reached a $1 billion valuation. So I just want to give a congratulations to her and happy birthday, happy belated birthday. If you hear this, Rihanna, just know that us at the Highly Advised Podcast love you very much, and we want to support you any way we can. Again,
Rihanna.
if you want to, we'll do a sponsorship or whatever. Just you gotta put that energy out there in the world. So
Birthday and
just
$1
want to tell
billion.
her congrats.
Fenty.
Shouts out to her, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, man. Shouts out to her. She's been doing her thing for a minute, so.
Yeah, I do want to because I think we had said, or we might have said something last week. I'll say, I'm going to just leave it at this. I'm sorry, fans, you'll probably never get an album.
No,
Just leave it at that. You'll
And you
probably
know
never
what?
get an album.
I'm cool with that. Fans should be cool with that too, man. Let Rihanna do her thing and make her fucking money.
Yeah, like that's what the name of the game is. Make the money and help those that came before you.
So, listeners, we had somebody reach out to us with a question, and we thought that we would bring it to y'all. And this is something that we're trying to start doing on a more regular basis, where we have viewer responses and things like that. And we actually have some more on the way, but this is like one of them. And we figured that we would share it with y'all before we go ahead and respond.
In regards to the COVID pandemic, what are your thoughts on how America is allowing for overcapacitated in-person sports events, but concerts in the music industry and other art-related events are still prohibited in most areas?
Shouts out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sending us a question. We encourage the listeners to do more of that. I think it's dope. And we definitely love to respond and give you our thoughts. Once again, we appreciate you tuning in and actually taking the time to send us a question. But Nigel, go ahead and lead the dance on that, man.
Honestly, when I think about shows and whatnot, because I miss going to shows, I like seeing artists I like perform and shit like that. It sucks because me personally, I don't feel comfortable going to a show that's in like an enclosed area. Like, I'd rather go to a show that's like outside and probably standing far away from a whole bunch of people and whatnot. Because like at the end of the day, like, you hear some artists talk about not letting, people into a venue unless they all are vaccinated and whatnot. And that's, to me, I feel like it's unrealistic unless you're having them showing proof before they come into the venue. You know what I mean? I feel like that's just like, I don't know. Me personally, I feel more comfortable sitting out in the grass, standing out in the grass, chilling. You know what I mean? Like that. Festivals aren't going to be a thing this year. They're going to end up canceling a lot of them again, just because like people get so crowded at festivals that it makes it almost uncontrollable. So that's personally how I feel about it. I just don't feel comfortable going out right now. I miss it a lot.
With sports, I think it's a little more controlled, a lot more organized because with sports, you don't have to be there live in person. They already proved it last year, going on to this year. It's already proved like, hey, you don't need to have an audience and people will still tune in and not miss anything. For artists to go out and have shows, go on tours and have concerts with them is very different because the whole premise of them of having a show is it's kind of like it's like pro wrestling. The audience is a part of the show, and now pro wrestling they adjusted where they found a way to evolve the fans without them being in person. I don't think too many people are excited watching a digital show from like the computer or on the TV. They'd rather go out and see their favorite artist or band in person. And I think that one is a tricky thing to do. Now, they can always kind of control it, do like a limited capacity type of deal, and make sure everybody is, negative from COVID, and maybe they might have to do a vaccine regulation to show up. I don't know. But that one is going to be a little tricky. And can it be done? I think so, but it's more or less of who wants to spend the money to get it done. Because Dana White, he was questioned on it about how he bring the UFC back and how other leagues and sports can do it. And he says, you have to be willing to spend the money to do it. Because if you're not going to get it done. Because it's going to cost money to regulate the proper way and hire the proper people to make sure it is being regulated the right way.
As a person that's an avid concert person, festival person, been to dozens of them, similar to what you guys were saying, like with sports, they figured out a way where, hey, people are here to watch the game, athletes compete, right? You're watching a competition. Hey, I don't know if you guys even heard when the Super Bowl was airing, people were paying like $200 or $100 to $200 for a digital seat at the Super Bowl so they could be in a raffle to possibly get a ticket for the Super Bowl next year. You're not really only people that can get stuff off like that is Drake, right? Drake, like the top billing acts, not even just Drake, but the highest of the highest billing acts. And similar to the opinion of like when it comes to money, it's right now is financially the majority of our favorite artists can't afford it, because if it's like, hey, in order to make this show go, we got to go through all the crazy provisions. And when it comes to music, it's like, okay, let's say an artist might make $20,000 off a show, right? After paying whoever they got to pay. Now you're saying, okay, in order for you to put this show on, I'm gonna need you to go and foot the bill for all these extra precautions. And what now artists is bringing home, like, granted, your fans might be happy, but you put them at risk. Anytime I've been at a concert of any artist that I've loved or I just was a fan of, like, I've never just stood there. I've never just sat there, like, because I know they try to introduce that idea before of making a music festival where everybody had their own seat. And it's like, in order to do that, majority of us are not going to be able to go, because now those tickets would probably be costing $1,000 practically. You know what I'm saying? Or almost $600 or $700 versus, and that's probably just starting out, because you got to kind of make that bread back. So it's just one of those things where I just don't think people. I just think right now, in terms of safety precautions, it's not really worth it. And even having like the digital presence of digital performances is no different than watching your favorite artist perform on an award show.
Do we have anything else to tell listeners before we come back next week?
Be safe and drink your water.
100%.
Wear a damn mask.
Always, yeah. But everybody, make sure you follow us. I'm gonna have Nigel plug us in. Nigel, let's just take a moment of silence for Nigel's leg. It's been going through a lot. So Nigel, take us away with, where people can follow us and what they should do with us. But my final take is, definitely keep your head up above water, stay strong, stay safe, look forward to being more healthy than what you were yesterday. And also at the end of the day, just have fun and enjoy yourself, because without happiness, you're going to die.
All right. So real quick, listeners, before I go, I just want to tell a quick story, then I'm going to plug us in. So yesterday, Lyles watched me walk around on the crutches around my house. Mind you, I've been injured for about a week and a half. And he's like, yo, man, you all right, man? You all right? You moving around? I'm sitting there breathing. I'm sweating. You know what I mean? Just struggling to get around my house. Mind you, I'm moving up and down the steps with one leg pretty much at this point in time. He's like, yo, man, you good, man? You good? And I look at him and I say, hey, man, like, moving around on crutches is hard. And he's like, yeah, man, I know. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there struggling, sweating and panting to get up and down the steps. And, it's Lyle's laughing right now. He'll tell you the truth, but that's just the way it was. I was struggling.
Hey, man, that shit was fucking crazy. I didn't realize it when I was saying it. I was like, but I definitely was in Nigel's position before, after surgery, crutching around up and down the stairs and shit. So I don't know why I said that, man. I don't know. I'm just saying, things just
bead of sweat on my face.
Things just become
straight.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you think I'm straight?
Yo, you good?
Nah,
dude.
Sometimes
I'm only up 2 steps. I got 20 more to go.
Yo,
I know how it is, man.
Sometimes Nigel be taking advantage, though, man.
Come on, yo. My leg broke. I'm like, yo, Lyle, can you? All right, so Spence, I want you to picture something, right? Imagine you can't walk and use your hands at the same time. How do you carry a plate? Spence, tell me how you do that. If you can't use your hands while you're walking, how do you carry a plate? Tell me.
You stand right where you are and eat off the plate.
Listeners, you can follow us at Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram, Advised Highly on Twitter. I am relaxing Noji _.
Yo, what
Jackson.
you gonna do when you at home by yourself? You gonna stand right there and eat on the plate, right?
St. Kitch is speaking to y'all right now. This has been another classic podcast. We will talk to y'all later. My legs gonna be healing up.
Sick boy.
Y'all been highly advised.
Oh, see, he don't want to answer that question though. How you supposed to do?
Boom?
No, answer the question.
You can't.
So what you do?
That's the answer.
No.
Play my teeth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, I just gave
my
it.
other foot. You mean to hop and carry the other foot? You
can't eat where the plate is.
I got a chair to roll back and forth from the kitchen right now, yo. I cannot do that shit. I can't.
So you got a wheelchair essentially. A chair that's on wheels.
Yeah.
So you're good. You just kick with the one foot. You hold the plate and kick.
You have been highly advised. Let me do Spencer's part for him, bro. It's time to end the show. It's time to wrap it up.
Bro, so how are you when you in the crib, right? When you're sitting when you're in the crib by yourself and you willing yourself to go get the food, right? Would you just eat, if anything, if you got to stand up and everything, would you just eat the food in the kitchen? Because I've been on crutches before.
It's either
I know exactly what you're
in the
talking.
kitchen, or I'm using the chair to bring the food back. The first time that I had a warm meal that I warmed up myself since I broke my leg was Thursday.
Hey man, we all grew up like that at one point in time in life.
You've been highly advised. You've been highly advised. Like,
throw that joint in the microwave.
Highly advised. Like,
yo, throw a PB&J in the microwave. It'd be a little warm.
You've been highly advised, listeners. My God.
I'm just thinking, man. I'm just saying, bro. Hey,
you've been highly advised.
Hey,
all right,
man.
y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Don't cut none of this either, man.
All right, y'all. See y'all next week, y'all.
All right.
All right, y'all take it easy. You guys been highly advised.